بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. فعن أبي الدرداء رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: إن اللاعنين لا يكونون شفعاء ولا شهداء يوم القيامة. أخرجه مسلم. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, men accustomed to cursing will not be intercessor or witnesses on the day of resurrection. So the people who are accustomed to, or they are excessively always curse. Okay? Yal'an, la'an Allah, curse, damn you, things of this nature. They will not be an intercessor nor witnesses in the day of judgment. This hadith reported by Imām Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala. Al-la'anin, qawl al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-la'anin, the one who's accustomed to cursing, or the one who excessively curse. Al-la'anin, jam'u la'an, sighat mubalagh, mean excessive, a lot. And the hadith said those who do this a lot, because sometimes a mu'min, a believer, a Muslim, might curse. It's not the good thing, but happens sometimes. Allah yal'an kada, la'an Allah shaitan, la'an kada. Sometimes comes out of your mouth the word la'an Allah, curse. May Allah curse this, curse that. But we're not expected from the mu'min to be accustomed to that. Not expecting from the mu'min that always talk like this. Ya akhi, wallahi, I don't know about what your culture is, but I'm familiar with cultures. Al-la'an indahum is very, very common. In one of the Muslim countries, the Arab countries I know, Sabah al-khair, good morning. Allah yal'an kayf asbaht. La'anak Allah, how you curse him? They said, how's your morning? Curse him, how's your night? Curse his wife, curse his kids, curse his car, curse. وَنَسْأَلُ اللَّهَ الْعَافِيَةِ. In some of the Muslims' countries' streets, you hear them يَلْعَنُونَ اللَّهِ فِي الشَّوَارِعِ. They curse Allah Himself. It's a very common, كلمة شائعة لدرجة أن لعن الله منتشر جدا بينهم. That's a common thing, أعوذ بالله, to curse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And people don't pay attention to it. They don't consider it a big deal. أعوذ بالله. That's haram, and it's absolutely something need to be stopped. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هؤلاء اللعانين, those who are accustomed to it, the whole excessive in saying it, they will not be intercessor, شفعاء, جمع شفيع. Intercessor means shafi' in Arabic language, or shafa'a. It means the intercessor is the one who helps someone to achieve something. That's what intercession means. Like, you want something from this boss, so you talk to his assistants, and his assistants help you to get what you want from the boss. So he intercedes. Intercession, when it comes with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only happened by His permission, by His will, and no one can initiate it. No one can initiate intercession with Allah. No one can go to Allah, Ya Allah, take this person out of hellfire. Impossible. It is Allah give you the permission, and you say, Ya Allah, Allah said, I give you the permission to intercede for so and so. I said, Ya Allah, I ask you to let him out. So Allah will let him out, or raise his level, or forgive that person's sin. But no one can intercede to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. That's why even in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the day of judgment, قال فأقع تحت العرش فيقول الله لي ارفع رأسك واشفع تشفع. الله هو اللي يقول له اشفع. لا يشفع، لا ما يشفعون عند الله كما قال في مواضع كثيرة من القرآن إلا بإذنه. When he gives the permission in many verses, he will allow you to intercede. Anyway, so those people will not be intercessors. They will never give him the permission to intercede, those who are accustomed to cursing. They will not intercede for their friends, family members, and so forth. وَلَا شُهَدَاء, witnesses. وَلَا شُهَدَاء, witnesses. There is two opinions about shuhada. هل شهداء معناها witnesses? So, as you know, in the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the people, do you testify that your messenger delivered the message to you? Then they said, yes, we did. And that's kind of honor, for you. Those people will not be asked, excluded. طيب? Allah will not take them as, because when you take someone witness, that means you honor, you trust that person. صح? You only get somebody you trust to be a witness. طيب, that's one opinion. الرأي الآخر لا يتخذ منهم شهداء يعني لا يكرمهم الله بموت الشهادة. يعني they will not be murderers, shaheeds. They will never die as shaheed. Allah will punish such people, not give them that sharaf, that honor to die as shaheed. So there is two opinions about what this word means. Could means both, yes. What we learn from the hadith? في الحديث التحذير من اللعن ولا سيما الإكثار منه. Warning against cursing, especially being excessive. طيب, اللعن, it means to ask Allah to take someone out of His mercy. And that's something so severe. Yani, Ya Allah, not let your mercy to get to this person or to be prevented from. Allah's mercy encompasses everything. وَسِعَتْ رَحْمَتُهُ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. For you to say this excluded from it, first of all, you putting yourself in a position to say who will be in Allah's mercy and who's not, who's out and who's in. That's not your call. That's why it's haram and it is a bad thing. يعني النووي رحمه الله قال اتفق العلماء على تحريم اللعن. العلماء agreed that cursing is haram because it is excluding someone from Allah's mercy, and this is something not allowed for a human being to claim, طيب, or to wish for someone. طيب. He said, he said, and some people became easy for them to say لعنه الله لعنه الله, even though it is not easy. It is something great with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is one of the major sins, and the person who curse becomes fasiq, and in the Day of Judgment will not be a shafi' or shaheed. Two, another lessons we learn from the hadith. Illa'na, may Allah take you out of His mercy, curse you, damn you, stuff like that. It goes against what Islam teach us to have towards one another. صح? We should be loving one another. We should wish best for one another. Yani, even when I see someone who is far away from the deen, I wish for that person to die as a Muslim. يعني أنا لما أشوف واحد كافر ملحد مجرم أقول يا رب يهديه. When I see someone who's so bad, I said, Ya Allah, guide him. He came and said, Ya Rasulullah, Daws asat rabbaha. Daws is terrible. Daws is a tribe. Terrible, did this and this and that. He said, Ya Allah, guide Daws and bring them to Islam. But for you to say, curse you, may never be in Allah's mercy, that's just absolute opposite of what the heart of the Muslim should have. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and guess what? Who is the closest to Allah? The Prophet, the Messenger, the Siddiqeen. Yet those people who are on a very high level of Iman, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا ينبغي للصديق أن يكون لعانا في صحيح مسلم. إن الله بعثني رحمة ولم يبعثني لعانا. Allah sent me as a mercy, not as a one who curse. The Prophet ﷺ said also in Muslim, as-Siddiq, the truthful person, will not be a person who curse. طيب. أيضا في حديث ثابت بن الضحاك قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لعن المؤمن كقتله. قال القرطبي أي في الإثم. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said cursing a believer is like killing a believer. The sin of cursing a believer is equal to the sin of killing a believer. And that shows you how great a sin as this is. Also, يعني astaghfirullah, يعني it is sad for me, I don't know about your culture, but like in culture that I'm very familiar with, they curse a lot. Allah yal'anak, Allah yal'anak, Allah yal'anak. It's just easy for them to say that's haram, and I hope yani, this will come to an end and stop because it's a very, very serious sin. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was with a group of people. So somebody said, may Allah curse this camel. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, let this camel go. Cannot be in the caravan. Ya Rasulullah, he said, that's it, it was cursed by you. Let it go, not touched. So can you imagine those who damn their children, damn their life, their luck, their days, their like. طيب على المسلم تجنب اللعن للحيوان والزمان والمكان. A Muslim should not curse a human, an animal, any object, the time or place. You curse, or even trial, like you don't curse. قال لا تسبوا الحمى. We don't curse, we don't do things like it comes to الحمى, يعني the diseases or times or days or any. We don't, just cursing is not something right. As I said to you earlier, how about this camel, the hadith in Sahih Muslim. وفي رواية أبي أعلى قال لا يسير معنا بعير ملعون, will not be in our company a camel which is cursed. طيب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تلعن الريح فإنها مأمورة من لعن شيئا ليست له بأهل رجعت اللعنة عليه. في سنن أبي داود. في سنن أبي داود النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said don't curse the wind or the weather. Why? Because wind only goes as Allah ordered it. You know, don't curse it. And he said, anytime you curse something does not deserve that, the curse will go back to you. And it will fire back on the person who initiated the curse. طيب. طيب. قال أبو الدرداء سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن العبد إذا لعن شيئا صعدت اللعنة إلى السماء فتغلق أبواب السماء دونها ثم تهبط إلى الأرض فتغلق أبوابها ثم تأخذ يمينا وشمالا فإن لم تجد مساغا رجعت إلى الذي لعن فإن كان أهلا لعن فإن كان أهلا وإلا رجعت إلى قائلها. Also Ibn Mas'ud and Abu Darda both reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, one in Abi Dawood, which is Hadith Abu Darda, the one of Mas'ud and Ahmad, that when somebody curse, that curse, it will be taken, that request will be taken to the heavens, and the doors will be closed. It will go back. If the person that you curse deserve the curse, it will apply to the person. Otherwise, it will go back to the person who initiated the curse. طيب. Even though the hadith, maybe it's not the most authentic, but that concept is reported from several companions. يوم القيامة, so they will not be shufa'a or shuhada in the day of judgment. That shows you that those who said murder is not very strong because it's in the day of judgment. طيب. طيب, you will not be intercessor in the day of judgment. Also, what about you will not be shuhada, witness, in the day of judgment? طيب, let's assume if it is the day of judgment is not restriction. يعني كلمة يوم القيامة ليست وصف مخصص. يعني in another word, in the day of judgment you will not be intercessor, you will not. But you can intercede in the dunya, that's right, even if you curse a lot. Even if you curse a lot, you still can make dua, you still can pray for someone. So, al-ulama rahimahullah would say, in the day of judgment, it means the absolute form of being a witness or being an intercessor will not happen in the day of judgment. But in the dunya, maybe it happens. So, al-ulama rahimahullah said, طيب, if we say they will not be witness in the day of judgment. Can we say they cannot be witness in the dunya too, in a case? Like in testimonial, in courts? Can this be? There is a debate based on this hadith. Some ulama said you don't even accept their testimonial in the court. Why? Because they are fusaq, because they are fasiq, because they commit a major sin. But the correct opinion, you can take them in cases like criminal cases, you can. Because we can use witnesses in criminal cases. النووي رحمه الله قال لو كان كل فاسق ما تقبل شهادته ما قام في الدنيا حكم. He said if every fasiq will not take his testimonial court, no cases will ever be in court, because the vast majority of people فساق. هذا النووي رحمه الله said that. قال رأيت عامة الجند والناس كلهم فساق. Majority of people have fisq. So if we're going to say only the trustworthy person can be a witness, a lot of contracts will fail. Business contract, marriage contract, that means if the father or two people, he is fasiq, you cannot be a witness. That's not possible. That's not possible. There is a lot of simple things. There are a lot of sins people do constantly, which is make them fusaq. Okay, fisq is not one level. You have to understand that too. It's many different layers. For example, some ulama said if you don't constantly pray in jama'ah, you're fasiq. If you shave your beard 100%, you're fasiq. So that's problematic. Some ulama would say if you have your thawb long, touching the floor, that's fasiq. So that's a problematic. If you're going to open this door, can you imagine you can't take that person testimony in court? That's why Nawawi rahimahullah said it makes no sense. Many people drink, many people, involved in haram, So he said, for example, woman doesn't wear hijab, doesn't cover her awra. Khalas, if she witness a case, I cannot take her testimonial. Also, Ibn Taymiyyah didn't agree with that. And he said there is no connection even. As long as we know that she is saying the truth, huwa sadiq, we can take their testimonial. This hadith also shows you that there is an intercession in the Day of Judgment, because you have some people deny the concept of intercession in the Day of Judgment. الذين نفوا الشفاعة في الآخرة هم الذين قالوا بأن الذنوب والمعاصي توجب الخلود في النار. Anyone believes sins means that you will be forever in hellfire did not accept the concept of intercession in the Day of Judgment. Is anyone in the history of Muhammad's ummah ever said that sins will make you forever in hellfire? Yes, many. The first group, the Khawarij, the Kharijat. They said, Al-Khawarij, أن الذنب يسلب الإيمان. Major sins take your iman away and you became kafir. In the dunya and in the akhirah, forever in hellfire. Who's else? Al-Mu'tazila. There's another big group in history. Al-Mu'tazila said that in the dunya, you take the name of the Muslim. And in the dunya, you be treated like a Muslim. But in the akhirah, you are in hellfire forever because of your major sins. So these two deviant sects, and there is other many, Ibadiyas, like people like that, they have similar positions as well. And those people, because of this, they said there is no intercession. Because if you make a sin, you're forever in hellfire. You became like kafir. So obviously they will not accept intercession. That's why they rejected all the verses, all the ahadith, all the things anything that indicated intercession, they didn't accept it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need any witness. صح? He doesn't need any witness. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. Allah is sufficient witness. Yet He asks us to be witnesses, not because of the lack of proving the case or the need for you. It's an honor for you. فاتخاذ الشهداء يوم القيامة هو إكرام للشهيد وليس إثبات للمسألة. So it's not about to prove the case as much as it is an honor Also, sometimes Allah take witnesses in the Day of Judgment, not because He needs it, but to make the clear evident. That's why He let your hands talk, your legs talk, the earth talks, and the angel talks. You know why there is written? Not because Allah will forget. It's just to show you what you did. It's written against you. إقامة الحجة على العباد. طيب. That's also hadith shows you that there is witnesses in the Day of Judgment. And you know who is a witness in the Day of Judgment? The Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ at large. Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. We have made you a best nation, so you will be witness over people. How that happened? How that will happen? That came in Sahih al-Bukhari, the interpretation of this verse. What that means, you will be witnesses over others. في البخاري أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يجيء بنوح فيقال له هل بلغت فيقول نعم فيقال لأمته هل بلغكم فيقولون لا فيقال من يشهد لك يا نوح فيقول أمة محمد فيقول قوم نوح كيف تشهدون لنا وإنما أتيتم بعدنا قالوا بلغنا نبينا بذلك فشهدنا لأننا نصدقه فهذا قول الله تعالى وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس. Sahih al-Bukhari, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, explain how we will be witnesses over other nations. Nuh will be brought, and it will be said to Nuh, did you deliver the message? He said, yes. Then his people will be asked, did Nuh deliver the message to you? They said, no. Then Allah will tell Nuh, do you have witnesses that you delivered the message? That Nuh would say, yes, the nation of Muhammad. Then his people would say, how can they witness something they did not see? They came after us. They came after our time. Then the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ, obviously representative, will be saying from them, they said, yes, we came after you, but our Prophet told us that your Prophet delivered the message. That's why we testify it's the truth. Because we know for sure that what the Quran told us is the truth. And what Muhammad ﷺ told us, the truth. So, those people who will get the honor to say that will not be among them al-la'anun. Those who curse a lot will be not giving that honor to stand up in that position. That's why the person should be very careful from cursing. And we talked about this before, that's why we're not going to go into the details of it. Next hadith. وعن معاذ بن جبل رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من عير أخاه بذنب لم يمت حتى يعمله أخرجه الترمذي وحسنه وسنده منقطع. Mu'adh ibn Jabal narrated that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, if anyone disgrace his brother for a sin, he will not die before committing it himself. Related by Tirmidhi, who graded it to be Hasan. So, disgraces, disgraces. Is that a good word, disgraces? Is it? Ayyar. Shame will be also a good word. Shame. Humiliate. Yeah. But shame is very good. Shame, صح? Ayyar. Yeah. Shame his brother, making fun of his brother because of the sin that this other person did. Will not die before committing it himself. Reported by Tirmidhi, this hadith is not Hasan, it's a weak hadith actually. And if you want to say, some people said even it's fabricated. بعضهم قال موضوع مكذوب على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Why? Because it has a man, his name Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Hamadani, and he's a liar. So that's when you have a liar in any hadith في إسناد كذاب يعتبر موضوع. Immediately, any hadith has someone to be called kadhab and it's been proven that he is a liar, or the ulama agreed on that, this hadith is fabricated hadith and is rejected. Okay? But the concept, there is other narration, but it never, basically, we never use a fabricated hadith to be a backup. ما يرتقي مطلقا. طيب. Also, it has another issue, which is كما قال منقطع. The chain of narration is not even complete. And Khalid ibn Ma'dan, who narrated this from Mu'adh ibn Jabal, never met Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Anyway, but the concept is correct, by the way. And we will put a cap on it. Man ayyara, as I said, they like shame his brother, disgrace his brother. من العار طيب وهو ما يلزم به العيب, something that you be shameful by, to be shamed by. أخاه, his brother in Islam or in humanity. بذنب قد تاب من, and shuf here, he said his brother, because if he is your brother, why would you do that to him? You should care about his feeling. You should not make fun of him. You should not be happy to see him doing the sin or doing something wrong. He reminding you that he's just not a person. He's your brother. تعبير دائما في النصوص يقول أخوه وأخاه كذا ليذكره, to remind us of that relationship. We're not talking about a person. This is my brother, so I treat him like a brother. طيب. بذنب, with a sin, some ulama put a cap on it. يعني بذنب قد تاب منه, كما قال Imam Ahmad رحمه الله. يعني he shamed him for a sin that this person repented from it. Because you might shame someone for a sin that he is still doing, to tell him, shame on you that you're using drugs. Shame on you that you do, because he's still using it. Shame on you to be doing this in this age. Okay? But they said this hadith was in particular talk about you shame someone for a sin that he did but repented from it and stopped and changed, but you still bring it up. And can you imagine you come to a new Muslim, for example, and you tell them, shame on you how you were like living without marriage with a man, sister. She was not Muslim at that time. Shame on you how you were, khalas, the person changed. I can't believe that you did that when you're youth. I was ignorant. But you make fun of them and you shame them for it. That person will fall in that sin, according to that narration. طيب. العلماء رحمه الله agreed, even this not a hadith from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, but العلماء كلهم يقولون لا يجوز تعيير الإنسان بالذنب الذي تاب منه. Every alim, every scholar said it's haram, it's bad akhlaq, bad manner to shame someone, to make fun of someone who did sin in the past and repented from it. Okay? You cannot do that. المؤمن يستر وينصح. The mu'min cover his brother's mistakes and give advice. والفاجر, the wrong person, the bad person, the evil person, يهتك ويعير. Expose people and make fun of people's mistakes and shame people for their mistakes. طيب. What is يعير? التعيير, which is disgrace or shame others or make fun of them. It means, one, you make that sin that this person did, you make it public. Something happened privately, you take it and you make it public to make fun of him, or to put him down, or to disgrace him in public, or discredit him in front of public. Also, one of the ways for ta'ir, al-ujb, which is you tell him, I can't believe you did that. Just only, oh my God, I can't even see myself in even close to this. This is ridiculous. This is disgusting. See? He basically insulting him, praising himself, elevating himself from that level. That's ta'ir. Part of التعيير العلماء أيضا طيب when he sees someone like fall on a mistake or did mistakes or in a trouble, will not feel sad that his brother or his sister did something wrong. Actually, they feel happy because now they have a story to tell. And that's crazy. And it's so common, unfortunately, too. Yani when you see a scholar make a mistake, or a sheikh did something wrong, or a da'iyah, or a friend, or oh my God, I got you kind of attitude. And I immediately go to social media. That's just not how the Muslims. We should feel sad. I remember I talked to one of the mashayikh once about a very famous sheikh, said something was very, very irritating. Very, very disturbing, sorry, not disturbing. And I was telling him about it, and all of a sudden this sheikh started in tears, crying, tears. I said, Sheikh so-and-so said, and this sheikh is old, old. He said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have entered election, okay, he would never score these high numbers that you see in the Middle East president get, 99% to like 99%, or 98%, vote. He got the vote of 99%. 99. There's no shame, remember this in the old days, sometimes in Mubarak days, and in Syria, 99%, and even in these days too. So 98%. فهو الشيخ that was saying, he said, he was making fun of these guys, but the way he said it was so disrespectful. So I was upset about him, not about the concept, but you don't talk about Allah like this. He said, if Allah would go to the election against that president, he wouldn't even get, or he will run for election, he will not get 99%. I understand what he's trying to say, any majority of people on earth don't believe in God, I understand, but that's not how we as a people of ilm and people who love Allah to talk about Allah this way. Also, I don't want to be in the other camp who made takfir to this sheikh and hammer him. That's also wrong. I understand what he's trying to say, but that's not right. That's not how we talk about Allah. But so I was upset, how can someone who have knowledge would say something like this? So I was sharing this with that sheikh, and that sheikh was in tears. So I was like, why he's in tears? Then he said, Waleed, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said one word, you might say it, not paying attention to it, lead you to the bottom of hellfire. A word of disrespect for Allah or something like that. And this man that you talk about, I know that he spent the last 60 years or more of his life serving Islam, serving knowledge, spreading da'wah. A person who put in jail, a person who's been through a lot, sacrificed a lot, blah, blah, blah. Yet, he made these severe mistakes. What about us? How can we feel safe and we did not offer even 10% of what this person's offer? The way, the perspective that he was thinking about it, I was thinking also only solely about how come he did that, but his perspective was more merciful, was more spiritual, was a lesson for me that I should have mercy. When I see the mistakes of others, I should have mercy. I should make dua that Allah guide them to be corrected. Guided them. Not I am happy to announce it or happy to publish it to the public. When you see, I'll tell you, one of the big difference between التعيير والنصيحة, when someone who's disgracing others and shaming others and being arrogant, you will find when person mention other people's mistakes, will not make dua for them, will not ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them. He just want to show off. That's just wrong. Also, be very, very careful to mix between نصيحة and تعيير. And Ibn Rajab كتب كتاب جميل جدا 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 اسمه الفرق بين النصيحة والتعيير. Ibn Rajab wrote a book, The Difference Between Advice and Shaming Others. There's a big difference between, because sometimes we shame others in the format of advice. I'm advising him. No, you intend to humiliate him or her. It's like even sometimes with our family member, yani your wife, she talked to you or your husband and you shame them, you humiliate them. I was just giving you advice. Or your son, I want to give you an advice. You this and this, you just make him feel bad about himself. That's not nasiha, that's not an advice. طيب. حتى يعمله, يعني until the person will do the same sin. In other words, what that means, يعني do the same sin, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give him the protection, because he starts making fun of others and as if he is the one who protected himself from that sin. You know, so Allah will take that protection from him and eventually he will fall into it. طيب. The one who anyone committed a sin is one of four. A person committed a sin, repented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or someone committed a sin and punished for it. Let's say somebody that did the punishment in Sharia for the sin that he committed. That person, their sins is completely purified. This person became free from it. You're not allowed ever to shame him for it. You're not allowed to be brought up against them. Okay? So that's why Imam Ahmad said, you make fun of someone's sin, that the person repented from it. Another person who making a sin, but in a private manner. He never said it publicly. He don't talk about it in public. It's something private between him and Allah and the whatever, you know. Somebody, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yani, I was surprised. Somebody came to me and said, Shaykh, yani, I come to the masjid and stuff like that. Shaykh, I have a problem. I said, what? He said, I can't stop drinking. He said, sometimes even after Isha, I go and drink. It's just very hard for me. I'll wait until I pray, then I'll drink. So this is a private sin. You didn't go talk about the person, expose the person. Haram. If you know about it, you talk to them in private. And don't shame them for it. Just give them an advice. And don't expose their sin. A third person, the one who make the sin openly, I'm proud of it. This person can be shamed for their sins openly. Like someone like these singers, like these days in Egypt, for example, there is all this debate over a woman who passed away. His name is Sa'dawi. If anyone has as mustard seed of Iman, will know that this woman is not a believer. It cannot be a Muslim. Anyone has a doubt that this woman is not a Muslim, he doesn't understand Islam. A woman openly telling you, I'm not a Muslim, I don't believe in the Quran, I don't believe in your God, I don't believe in your hellfire, I don't believe in paradise, I don't believe in resurrection, openly like that. What's left? Making fun of the Prophet, of the Quran, of the believed Torah, Injil, just pure agnostic or atheist. And she's not an ignorant. She's not an ignorant. At one point, she was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. يعني كانت من الإخوان المسلمين in one time in her life. And she's not someone who doesn't never come from like aristocrat, like French raised, مش عارف إيش. يعني she never know anything, مدارس Islamic. No, She was, and she basically have activism at certain point in her life. So she knows, but she just flipped. Somebody openly like that, yes, I will shame her for her sins, and shame on this woman who believed that God is anti-woman. And she said the problem that God and Muhammad and all these, religious figures in history, Isa, Musa, all this anti-woman. Until you fall in it, you commit the sin. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, it is possible that this hadith means that you will do not the exact same sin, but something similar to it or worse. If you make him drinking alcohol or something, like shame when you drink alcohol, and not necessarily you will fall in drinking alcohol, but you might find yourself doing it, or something similar, not us drinking, maybe drugs, or worse. Go ahead. Listen to what Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah says in Madarij Salikin. كلام يكتب بماء الذهب. قال ويحتمل أن يريد أن تعييرك لأخيك بذنبه أعظم إثما من ذنبه وأشد من معصيته. It could mean, this narration, that when you disgrace your brother, or you shame your brother, or you humiliate your brother for his sin, in itself, it's a sin greater than his sin. لما فيه من صولة الطاعة وتزكية النفس وشكرها والمناداة عليها بالبراءة من الذنب. Why it is a worse sin? Because when you do that, you see yourself in a higher position as a pure person, as you praise yourself as if you're a person free from sins, and this person is the sinner. وأن أخاك he sinned but I don't. قال ولعل كسرته بذنبه وما أحدث له من الذلة والخضوع والإزراء على نفسه والتخلص من مرض الدعوى والكبر والعجب ووقوفه بين يدي الله ناكس الرأس خاشع الطرف منكسر القلب أنفع له وخير من صولة طاعتك وتكثرك بها والاعتداد بها والمنة على الله وخلقه بها. Might that sin that this person committed cause for that person's heart to be broken, to be terrified from his sin, to respect Allah, to fear Allah, to feel sense of humility after the sin that he committed, standing before Allah heads down while the heart is trembling and the heart is in a sense of humility. That it's much better and more beneficial than your arrogance, and you see yourself not because you didn't commit that sin, you see yourself better than him, higher than him, and to show your favor over him. That's not good. That's why he said, فَذَنْبٌ تُذِلُّ بِهِ لَدَيْهِ أو تذل به لديه, a sin that brings sense of humility to you, a sin that brings sense of humility to you, ذنب تذل به بين يديه أحب من طاعة تدل بها عليه. يعني it's better than a good deeds that it will make you arrogant in front of Allah. من الدلال يعني. I'll say this again. A sin that will lead to humility and feeling weakness and seeking forgiveness, better than a sin that or good deeds that will lead you to feel that it is something that you proud of, and you feel that this is something that you feel that you're better or big by it. وإنك أن تبيت نائما وتصبح نادما خير من أن تبيت قائما وتصبح معجبا. To spend the night sleeping, then you wake up, oh, I missed the night, I missed the opportunity to pray. Better than you spend the night making qiyam al-layl and you come to Fajr prayer, I'm the best of all of them, I've been the whole night to praying. You feeling proud of, like better than everybody else. وَإِنَّكَ فَإِنَّ الْمُعْجَبَ لَا يَصْعُدُ لَهُ عَمَلٌ. Those arrogant and feel, oh, I'm better, their deeds will never be carried up in heavens. وَإِنَّكَ أَن تُضْحِكَكَ وَأَنْتَ مُعْتَرِفٌ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَن تَبْكِي وَأَنْتَ مُدِلٌّ وَأَنِينُ الْمُذْنِبِينَ أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ مِنْ زَجَلِ الْمُسَبِّحِينَ الْمُدِلِّينَ. He said that to laugh while from inside your heart you're afraid and scared from your sin, better than crying while from your inside your heart have no fear from God. You feel safe. He said, and Allah loves the weeping of the sinners over their sins more than the tasbih and the dhikr of the righteous who feels that they are perfect. فلله في أهل طاعته ومعصيته أسرار لا يعلمها إلا هو ولا يطالعها إلا أهل البصائر فيعرفون منها بقدر ما تناله معارف البشر ووراء ذلك ما لا يطلع عليه الكرام الكاتبون. He said, يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has secrets and has certain wisdoms behind the thing that He decreed upon us. That's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إذا زنت أمة أحدكم فليقم عليها الحد ولا يثرب يعني لا يعير. When your girl, يعني if you have a girl work in your farms or with you and she committed zina, adultery, she got her punishment, don't bring it up again. Don't keep bringing this up. And subhanAllah, this is a very important thing in tarbiyah, in raising children, or family, or friends. If somebody did a mistake, don't keep bringing it up. Yani every time you see your son, oh, let's say you caught him smoking. Weeds, huh? Goes a week, 2 weeks later on. Are you awake? You're all here? Khalas. Yani, keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up. That's not good. In Nabi Sallallahu, don't bring it up. Khalas. You punish the person, you dealt with it, move on. Okay? قال, and also Yusuf said, Ya salam. قال عن يوسف لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. Yusuf said, no shame for you today. خلاص, you repented. SubhanAllah, I'm one of the verses in في القرآن. هذه من أعجب الآيات عندي في القرآن. من أعجب الآيات في قصة يوسف هذه القصة. This particular verse, one of the astonishing verses in Surah Yusuf, for me personally. Okay? Which is when he told, after all these years of you know what happened to him, jail, putting in the will, like slave, yeah, and you name it, what happened to Yusuf? When they apologized to him and they said, Shaitan nazagha baynana, the Shaitan have caused us animosity between us and jealousy, what did he say? La tathri khalas, done. Nothing. New page. Willing to forgive and to forget all this. طيب. Anyway, يعني, there is a longer talk by Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. Another lessons we learn. قد يعاقب المعير we said this, maybe you'll not fall in the same sin, but something similar to it, or even worse than it. And we have seen in life, sometimes this happens, sometimes doesn't happen. That's why when I say, even the ulama said that person will fall into the sins that you made fun of other people's because they are doing it. It's not necessarily to happen to every person. We have to keep that in mind. Okay? So it doesn't need necessarily to happen. It can and it cannot. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. There is a very famous statement that the ulama sometimes used, and I want to say it because I completely disagree with it, which is, وَمَنْ يَزْنِي يُزْنَى بِهِ وَلَوْ بِجِدَارِهِ. They said if you commit fornication with someone will fornicate with your family. And if you touch a woman which is not halal for you, someone else will touch one of your women. It's a very famous statement. It's a very, very commonly used and quoted in the books of fiqh and hadith and tafsir, stuff like that. I disagree with that statement. First of all, it's not from the Prophet ﷺ, it's not from the companions, rahimahumullah ta'ala. It is mentioned by some of the scholars. There is a hadith in Al-Hakim, ضعيف, عفوا تعف نساؤكم. Be chastened and your woman will be chastened as well. I disagree with this because that's basically, first of all, against the concept of adl. If somebody is terrible and he, pedophile for example, a father who's just messed up, what's his little girls to say that will happen to his girl?
It's not fair.
It's not correct, it's not right, it's against the concept of justice, and so forth. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might punish the person with punishments, similar to the sin that you commit as a form of punishment, but to say this as a general rule, no. Anyway, but it happened. Like a common thing will happen when people are bad to their parents. Their children usually also bad to them. But we have also seen people who are bad to their parents and their children were so good to them. Not necessarily that they were bad to them. It can and it cannot. The person should be careful. I think it should be taken as warning, but should not be taken as a default rule. نسأل الله العافية, نسأل الله العافية, نسأل الله العافية. May Allah protect us because that's just scary and terrible. Inshallah, next week we will do the 2 hadith left in this chapter. I was hoping to finish it today, but
so that's what it was with Shaykh Waleed, that's not fair to the other woman in your family. It's just not fair.
Yeah, woman, men, whatever it is, yes. Inshallah, next week we'll finish the other 2. We still have 5 minutes.